Hey everybody, this is Lady Fantastic. Below is Rob Worst, and to my right, uh, in one way, but it's mirror reversed, is Mr. Dan Delatorre, or is it Delatorre?
Dilatory.
Okay, so this is the first time you have been on our channel,
Yeah,
so I
thanks for
would love
having me on.
anytime, man. You participate in the chats and the auctions. You part of the community, and so we've talked and been on some shows together. And
And you are a fierce competitor on the one show we were on last night. We had a lot of fun on the Tony Sanders show.
yeah, yes, you are a worthy adversary. I like to
Thank you.
usually just talk trash, but no, it's really good just being around everybody and
Yeah.
laughing and having a good time.
Well, I told you off air that I have such a deep love for comics. I just do. When you pulled out that Submariner, I'm like, I can't rip on that. I love. If I was in the chat, I would have voted for that.
You're like, can't hate on that one.
No, I can't.
The reason why I got it is because last week you were showing some really great Submariners, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, I need to get some of those because it's not appreciated the way it should be, or like I need to appreciate. I need to get more. I need more, obviously. So I picked up. I found that one at my comic shop, and had to nab it. I had to have it.
Those were underappreciated for the longest time. I literally have stored my comics for decades, and
Yeah,
I look through them periodically, and I thought, well, I was still going on the Overstreet price guide.
right.
The prices aren't going anywhere. Nobody wants. They're very much unwanted, unloved, unappreciated. There you go. That was a winner. I need to get my hands on that. That is
44.
so yeah, that is so golden age.
Yeah, it is very, very, yeah, it's very reminiscent of the golden age. So if we wanted to do this, we could like go boom and
Look at that. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
yeah.
So also
And
what I'm doing as I get older, if I get a book like that, what I try to do is do the research. Who wrote it? Who are the artists? Who is the cover art? Who even did the inking and penciling, that sort of thing? Because I'm beginning to fall in love with the history of comics.
yes. So same. I haven't been able to get around to this one yet, but I got around to my I've got a Creatures on the Loose 30. I don't here we go. Or 31, excuse me. But this was also one played last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couldn't beat that one. That because look at the reaction of the two men in the car. That got it. That got the crowd last night.
Gil Kane. This is Gil Kane art.
Another underappreciated artist, by the way. Gil Kane had some great artwork, and just he
Gil
didn't get
Kane
the yeah
on the early Defenders. Oh my god.
yeah.
Love Gil Kane on the early Defenders.
Well, if you run across this Submariner 14, this is the first meeting with Toro. It's not the Human Torch from the Golden Age, but Toro meets the Submariner. Great story. I believe it's Sal Buscema art. And again, these are just great reads. Have been underappreciated for decades, but now, like everything else, they're all skyrocketing in price. So
Yes. But like you said, there are still books out there that you guys can get for really good, for reasonable. I got this for this was $7.99
oh, that's a steal. Come on, that's a steal.
at my LCS.
Jeez, wow.
So yeah, I didn't think twice.
No,
Um so anyways, yeah, we wanted to hang out and kind of talk about our love of Bronze and Silver Age books. That's really where uh, Mr. Dan has his that's where his sweet spot is. Marvel, right? Just Marvel.
mostly Marvel, and the reason why was that as a kid, my first book was Incredible Hulk 197, and back in 1976, I still have it, by the way. And I fell in love with the artwork and the story, and everything grabbed me. And I had no problem with DC because as a child, loved Superman, Batman, Flash, all the rest of them. But when you only have so much money as a kid, you have to make a choice. And I just started choosing Marvel, and I never turned back.
Yeah, same. I chose Marvel too, and I never went back.
Yeah.
Um, and speaking of Marvel, like I said, we were wanting to do this, and then we obviously all heard about the passing of George Perez. As sad as it is, I'm glad that he's not suffering.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so he made a massive impact on the industry, the same as Neil Adams. I think I was talking earlier with certain people. Just imagine, had they not been in the industry, what a gaping hole there would be. Um, so they really touched a lot of people with their art and their characters and their stories. So with that being said, we're going to show you guys parts of our collection that that exists because of these fellas. And mostly we're going to do George Perez tonight. And we're going to show you, books that we loved that he gave to us, whether it be art or the story or both. So
Well, with it's been a tough couple of weeks for comic collectors because we've lost two giants. That coupled with the Doctor Strange movie that's ongoing and the ending of Moon Knight on Wednesday. But for an older collector like myself, I was collecting before there were cell phones and computers and DVD players. All we had was the art that was on the comic book page. So people like Perez and Neil Adams and Sal Buscema and Jack Kirby and all the rest of them meant so much to me and everyone else. Now, we're having to deal with reality that no one lasts forever, and we have to say goodbye to them, and all we have left is to admire what they left us.
there was a Marvel universe before the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yes, there was.
And that is what the cinematic universe was built upon. And so only these guys put into pictures what our imaginations could not even fathom. And for that, I am thankful. So with that being said, Rob or Dan, would either of you guys like to show any books that you have that that inspired you, that were done by Mr. Perez, or he contributed in some way?
Rob, why don't you start off first? You probably have more than I do. And by the way, Rob, that background you have I love that background.
Thank you. The thing is that as much as people seem to like this background, I do this for myself because I love the industry. I love comics. And earlier today, when I saw the news, and the first place that I heard it from was not Twitter, it was not from friends, it was, of all places, Key Collector Comics. And wow, that hit me because I was driving home, and I have a personal story about George Perez. I did a quick little video. I posted it over on the Twitter and our page over on YouTube. But to basically sum it up, way back in the day when I had this poster, and you'll see it over here in the background. But this poster I carried around with me freaking everywhere. Because I was hoping that I'd get to meet him at this MegaCon show, and it might have been a little bit before 2009. And this thing is 5 foot by 3 foot, and I was told, yeah, George Perez is going to be there, so I'm going to go stand in line. Nope, he's left for the day. Oh, but he's probably still walking around the convention right now, and if you catch him, he's probably still wearing his usual Hawaiian shirt. So go take a look. So I'm literally running around the convention with this poster in hand, a backpack full of comics, and there he is. He's surrounded by a couple people because dude's a legend. And I'm hesitant. I'm this fat kid here going, oh, I have comics. Who am I to be asking him, even though he's not signing right now? And I meekly walk up to him and I ask him, Mr. Perez, I'd be humbly grateful if you would sign this. And I opened it up, and he just started smiling and went, do you have any idea how long it took me to do this? It took him about a year just to do all the pencils, lay down all the foundation of the blacks before he gave it over to Alex Ross. and he signed it. He told me the story of how he put it together, and he didn't charge. He didn't ask for money. He's not the type of person that, I mean, he could ask for that. It was about 2007, 2009, somewhere around that time. People still charged for comic book signatures, but he didn't ask for a dime. He was just happy that I was into comics, into this poster, and that I literally was sweating, pouring sweat, chasing him down for this signature. And it was the only thing that I cared about getting signed by him. He didn't have to do that. It was out of the goodness of his own heart that he did. And that moment changed me as a comic collector, because I've had other people that were creators, and I'm not going to name names, but they were dickish about signatures. They wanted money. And even if you didn't have the full $100 or whatever it is, they wouldn't do it. Not George Perez. He just was in love with the art, and he was kind. And that's something I think we need a little bit more of in comic books today. So that's my little story. So I'm going to show a couple comics that I have here, and then we'll throw it on over to Lady and Dan. So a little short retrospective. Now, most of y'all kind of know George Perez starting possibly from the 80s when he was working on New Teen Titans. A lot of his creations today are being used in TV shows. Like you have Vigilante that makes the cover here, along with Cheshire, along with quite a few characters that he's created over this time. He wound up putting together the art on the Judas Contract with Marv Wolfman, and it all started with New Teen Titans. That's when his name was blowing up to kids around the world. Because New Teen Titans, it was fun, kind of like X-Men, but unlike these X-Men that are in their 20s and 30s, these are kids, just like the people that are reading them, just like me in the 80s when I was reading this. And yeah, that's the first appearance of Deathstroke. I got this in a huge lot way back in early 2000s, maybe $50 for it. And these were just some stellar, fun stories, and the art elevated around what most people were doing back at the time. You didn't have people trying to throw in this many characters on a page, let alone or on a cover, let alone even the background. So you wound up making character after character, from Trigun to Brother Blood. I mean, here we have a Trigun cover by Perez here. And I mean, there was nobody else quite like him. I mean, you had Alan Moore working with John Tottlebean. He was one of the masters at the time. You had Stephen Bissett. You had Bernie Wrightson that were great artists. But this guy was working a little bit more within the confines of the Marvel style, the DC style. A little bit more simplistic in the character designs, but it gave him more opportunity to work in backgrounds. Just he didn't leave anything to chance, and whenever there was empty area, it was to boost whatever was actually going on in the foreground, like a character, like a cover such as this. And here's another one with not too much character, with characters, but not too much background, and it's an effective piece. Here's another cover for issue 11 where just this cityscape right down here in the background is analogous to the cover. You didn't even need to put that in. That was just something he wanted to do. And it doesn't detract still from the rest of the cover. I mean, he would stick in as many characters as he could without making it confusing. And again, there was just really nobody else like him at the time. And he would be working on multiple books, kind of like Kirby back in the day, where he could churn out 3, 4, 5 books a month pretty easily. And he didn't lose any character design. He didn't skimp, where if you remember those Naruto memes where one image, he looks like Naruto. The next, it looks like it was drawn by my left hand while my head is inside of a toilet. So these are just some of the issues that he's worked on through New Teen Titans, and I'm just going to end it right around the Judas Contract, because he put together Terra. And then right after he creates Terra, I know he might have been a little uncomfortable making this issue here, where Deathstroke is kind of not heading on, not romancing, having a full-on sexual relationship with a 16 or 15-year-old child. And that was something that was addressed later on in the one of the animated movies, and it's still addressed today. But that is the Judas Contract is one of the most well-known comic book stories of all time. They haven't quite done it justice in the animated universe. But one thing that he contributed to the Batman universe is we had Robin for about 50 years or so. And then all of a sudden, he quits. No more Robin. Instead, we need to evolve. And his artwork would evolve along with us as we read these stories issue by issue. And the world's going to be a lot less because he's not in it anymore. So we're going to celebrate his work and his life. And he passed with his wife Constance by him and his family. He'll be missed. I'm going to throw it over to Lady or Den.
Hey, Rob, let me ask you, as you're bringing out those Teen Titan books, and forgive me for digging for a second because you inspired me. There was the introduction of the new Teen Titans in DC Presents 26, and there was a little comic within a comic. Did Perez do that? Do you know offhand? I was digging to find out that if he did.
It is. It's I can't remember if it's preview or original story. I'm pretty sure it was preview. And if it is preview, it's basically just the first couple pages of the first issue, just teasing out there to the world, like what they were doing with Blue Beetle and DC Comics Presents, like Amethyst. It was just a hint, a teaser at the first issue just to whet people's appetite. Well, so yeah, it's a great book to have. I have it back there in the box, and I probably should have pulled it. No, pull it, and one of you all go next.
If you guys don't mind, lady, why don't you take over for a second? I have it right here. I want to see because it's CGC, and let me see what they say about it. Give me just a moment.
All right.
All right, over to you, lady.
All right. So, I'm going to show you guys, like, I'm a big Avengers fan. And, like, for me, hey, what's up, Tacoma? If you want to come on, Tacoma, you can. You just got to be good. I am an Avengers fan, and there wouldn't be, like, the Avengers without George Perez. He did some of, like, the most memorable covers in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I want to show you guys some of these covers. But here we go. Hey Rob, could you shoot Tacoma? I don't actually let me get Tacoma.
Yeah, right after you ask that, you see what I just posted.
Yeah, that you don't do that anymore.
I deleted it off my phone. Even I don't care at all about Instagram.
Compose to Tacoma. Wait, it's in. All right. And what is this link? Okay, gave it up. Invite. Copy. Boom. 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 Look at the subject matter that I sent you. Come on, just like smashed a bunch of shit in. Okay. So if you want to come on, go ahead. I sent you the link. I love his Avengers art. And when you talk about being like more simplistic, I think it's just he really respected and was solid with his lines. I mean, I don't know. He was good. He was strong on basics. And if you're strong on basics, like, you're going to be consistently good. And I mean, this is the same man that gave us also the covers from Infinity Wars. Like, those were epic. I mean, like, literally they told epic stories on those covers.
I think if I would compare it to anything, the best way that I could possibly compare it to would be Studio Ghibli, when you see these lush, beautiful backgrounds and the characters, they don't put way too much, they don't over detail it, but nevertheless, each and every frame of it is perfect, and so is his art. There was nothing that you could really say was off model or off key. He was just consistent.
This is one of my favorite covers by George Perez in the Avengers run. All of the ants. I absolutely love this cover. It's so fun. He was probably smiling like a big kid, drawing these ants everywhere on everybody. Just like, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. Here is the first Jocasta, and I mean, he just uses space really well. He creates a lot of action. You know, you feel like there's a lot of energy, a lot of kinetic motion here, and always had just like a great covers. There's really not a Perez cover where I go like, that's crap. I don't think I've ever insulted a Perez cover. Just always good. Solid. He just created the characters the way we remember them. He drew them in the most classic ways that I can, that I recall them. So, yeah.
Not being an artist, but someone who appreciates art, I guess the adjectives I would use would be focused and organized. There was nothing out of place. Everything was structured perfectly well, like nice proportions across the board. So,
yes, I mean, he was very, I think, intent on realism, but not hyper realism.
Yes, agreed.
That, and he always, I mean, there's always action, there's dynamics and perspective. He's, you can take things from different angles, and he tends to be appreciative of that and mindful of the space when it comes to laying out a cover and the perspective on it. This is another great issue. This is one of your first Scott Lang, which I think the back of his head maybe.
Well, that's a great cover to illustrate, because look how perfectly, I had the right word for it. Look how aligned everything is. Everything is, nothing's out of place. It's very proportional.
Yes.
And it's a busy cover without being a busy cover.
Right. It's a busy cover, neatly done.
Yes.
Not bleeding over, it's very clear cut. This is one of my favorite covers. It's also one of my favorite issues where Carol Danvers comes and joins the Avengers. So she becomes part of the team in issue 183. And you got Absorbing Man here, swirling his ball and chain. And this is just great stuff. This is what I love, and this is what I remember about Avengers are these solid Perez covers. Like, this is Avengers for me. But we can move ahead and let Dan show some of his favorites. I'll end with this one. Like Rob, I don't think actually Rob showed this, but this is a Perez cover that is just so much intricacy, so much detail. You can see really great job. I love his stuff. I love him, and I'm gonna miss him. Just sucks. Yeah. But like Dan said, this is the natural order of things. Such is the way.
Well, he gave us so much, like so many of the artists and writers and so forth. The same could be said for Stan Lee. Yeah. Last time I saw Stan Lee was in San Jose's Comic-Con, and I knew it would be the last time I saw him. And I literally got teary-eyed knowing that I won't see him anymore. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I did find the slab here, and yes, it does. Here's what it says here. DC Comics presents number 26, story by Marv Wolfman, blah, 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 for the Green Lantern and Superman story. First appearance of Raven, Cyborg, and Starfire. That was, the preview was by Marv Wolfman and George Perez. So I believe, because I don't have a raw copy, I'm assuming George Perez's artwork for the introduction of the new Teen Titans. A book you should probably get your hands on, by the way, if you don't have one. I always thought, and this is a bit of an aside, if DC gets their act together, some would go for a youthful team, and the new Teen Titans would be probably the team that they would go for to appeal to a younger crowd.
Yeah.
So to dovetail with Lady Fantastic, I'm also an Avengers fan and a huge fan of the Absorbing Man. I also love the not just the heroes from Marvel Comics, but the villains. And look at that. This is one of the most gorgeous covers I've ever seen. and that is 100% Perez. So anyway, that's where we pick off here. And I've got books here in no particular order. Star Trek #1. I'm a huge Star Trek fan from the original Gene Roddenberry Star Trek. And that was a great issue. Again, that's a George Perez cover. I'm pretty certain this is also a George Perez. I'm not 100% certain. Crisis.
Yeah.
That was a George. He did a number of these, if I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Well, yeah, because it says so right there. That is a Perez cover. So that was another great classic, and probably the best one I have. And forgive us all because we were just literally throwing this show together because of the passing today for George Perez. This is the best one that I have, and that's Wonder Woman #1. And this was actually I won this on Journo's Comics. Oh, you got one too. That's not. Love this cover. Love the story. Love the Wonder Woman series. So, but again, gorgeous. I would say perfection by George Perez. There's nothing imperfect about these images.
His Wonder Woman covers, I felt like he had so much love. Like I almost felt like I could feel his emotions in the images. Like he was smiling when he did certain things, or like he just, I feel like he had a really good time with Wonder Woman. Something about that art.
And we did mention Neil Adams, and this will be on my show on Monday. This is a Neil Adams cover, and this is special to me because you're an Avengers fan, I'm the biggest Defenders fan, and this is Marvel feature #1, the first appearance of the Defenders, and that is Neil Adams at his best.
I have that issue as well. My buddy named Rob got me that book, so. But I am a big Defenders fan as well. I just recently got issue 13, so now I need issue 17, and I'll have the first 3 of the feature and then 1 through 20 straight.
I have literally been storing comics for decades, and I have at least 2, 17 and 18, that are near 9/8. They're that perfect, and I'm terrified to even move them. But the issue is going to CGC with all these horror stories. Do I dare send such a delicate book all the way to across the country? I haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I need to get a 17. That's what I'm. I need to get a 17. But other than that, I've been having a great time with it. The Gil Kane again, his stuff on the Defenders, early Defenders art, killed it.
My favorite issues were 1 through 11. That was Steve Englehart when he took over the series for the first 11 issues, and Sal Buscema was his art. He's still my favorite artist to this day, and that says a lot given the talent that we're talking about this evening.
Yes. So are there any other books that you would like to share? Or?
No, that's all I could. I mean, I probably have more. Again, I didn't have time to dig through the collection.
So you brought up a good point. Last week, on top of George Perez, we also had Neil Adams pass. And that's something that I wish we could have gotten something thrown together too, and that I pulled more books. But this is a man that created the Bronze Age as we know it today. He started off being artist here, and with the artist on Green Lantern, you wound up bringing in racial tones that were not really talked about in comics. He brought up drug use. He brought up things like making sure that there's diversity when it comes to these characters that are represented that we read, because we're not all a bunch of white men reading comics. There's all different types of people, and they should have that representation. And Neil Adams, if it wasn't for that man, we wouldn't have comic art being something that's bought and traded as it is today. That was something that was owned largely by the big corporations, and they would largely disappear or just be thrown away. In the case of much of Jack Kirby's art, or Bill Finger's, or Gil Kane's, or anybody's from before the 70s, it's lost to time. And if it wasn't for Neil Adams and his fight to preserve this history, the best way I think I've seen it put online is that Now, really, when it comes to comic book fans, we're a very small niche community. Not everyone knows about the comics. People go see Doctor Strange and they see that post-credit sequence and they go, "Who the hell is that?" Well, we know who it is because we're into this shit.
Yeah.
But not everybody does. And Neil Adams helped make it so that these people would get paid for their creations and be aware of these characters. But it was Neil Adams that fought for the rights of these creators to get paid so that they wouldn't live in squalor and poverty. The comic book legal defense fund was helped largely by Neil Adams, and the best way that I saw it put online to correlate would be that if this is the same thing for film fans, if Martin Scorsese and Steven Spielberg passed away in the same week, it would be that devastating. And that's where we find ourselves today in a world without George Perez. So here's some of the books that he was working on from the 70s up until last few years. So he started his career over at Marvel Comics on Deathlock, of all things, working on an Astonishing Tales 25. No one probably thought this was going to be anything when it first hit the stands, and look at where we are today. People always talk about Dave Cockrum and Chris Claremont and I'm forgetting names here, but you also had George Perez do a great cover on X-Men. This is one of his classic covers. Now, another one that we have here is Avengers 161. This is the issue that Lady just showed. This is the issue that we wind up getting. Well, funny enough, this is when we wind up having Ant-Man. No, he's in it, but it's mostly because Wonder Man gets his movie star jacket and sunglasses. In this one here, we get Scott Lang turning himself into Ant-Man. We have a legacy character, one of the first introduced in the storylines. I know that pissed off a lot of people for a long time, but now here the movie is giving us nothing but legacy characters, and I say, bring them on. I love America Chavez. In fact, people are giving away at, I think, Regal Cinemas. I just went today either a Doctor Strange figurine or an America Chavez. They were out of all the Doctor Strange, but they had America Chavez, and I heard a kid go, "Oh, thanks," and basically probably threw it away. So now I know if you're going to see that movie this weekend, you're going to want that America Chavez figurine. But that's another story.
Yeah.
He gave us the freaking Taskmaster before the movies kind of destroyed that one. They'll probably do it right later on. He was working on Ms. Marvel at the very end, right before it was canceled. And we know what happened after this was canceled. They introduced Mystique, and they were planning on introducing the daughter of Mystique, and that didn't quite happen in that book. That happened in another book. That happened in this book. And man, he helped bring us Rogue. He helped bring us the Infinity Gauntlet. And in the Infinity Gauntlet, it gave us a movie series that was one of the most largest earning films of all time before it was back and forth between Avatar. And Avatar's coming out with a new movie, but I doubt anything's going to quite surpass the Infinity Endgame.
Yeah.
And here he is starting his first book on DC Comics, doing a cover for, of all things, Green Lantern. I love Green Lantern. I have every issue from about 76 forward. So, of course, I'm going to have his first issue on Green Lantern. He worked on Wonder Woman after they rebooted it post-Crisis. He gave us new versions of characters like Cheetah. We just had Dan showing it a few minutes ago. He gave us the new Teen Titans previewed here in DC Comics Presents number 26. He gave us one of the first resets of all comics, because we know when we're watching all these movies with Doctor Strange 2 and the multiverse, they're going to reset it all with Secret Wars and recast everybody because everyone's getting a little too expensive. And like our budget's big, but we don't want all the budget going to the actors. So that's probably happening too. Here's Crisis. Crisis was so influential that every comic book company wanted to have crossovers, because when you run out of stories to tell, well, you just combine everybody together. He killed off the freaking Flash. He killed off Supergirl. He wound up changing the industry. And he was so influential that Marvel and DC gave him the opportunity in the 90s to do a crossover between Justice League and the Avengers. And in the last few months of his life, they put out a trade paperback. There was 7,000 of them printed, and they were only about 30, $40 a piece at first. And people are now selling them for about $200-$300 a pop. And I would just ask humbly if there are people that have done that, if they could just donate a small percentage of that to whatever foundation or whatever charity that you might think would be worthy to you, because we can't keep everything, and when we pass, all of this isn't going to be ours forever. It's going to pass into other hands, and maybe show a little bit of kindness the same way that George did.
On that, you bring up a good point, Rob. I wonder if George Perez had a number of charities or charity that he favored. Is there any knowledge of that on any levels? Is the fam? I know the family's grieving at some point, but I wonder if there's going to be some sort of mention.
So what I can do here is I have his Instagram post that was put in our group chat, where this is what was written from Constance, the wife of George Perez. To all George's fans and friends, Constance here. With the update no one wants to read, George passed away yesterday. And that would be the day before New Comic or Free Comic Book Day, of all days. George passed away yesterday peacefully at home with his wife of 490 months and family by his side. He was not in pain, and he knew he was very, very loved. We were all very much grieving, but at the same time, we are so incredibly grateful for the joy he brought to our lives. To know George was to love him, and he was loved back, fiercely and with his whole heart. The whole world is a lot less vibrant today without him in it. He loved all of you. He loved hearing your posts and seeing the drawings you sent and the tributes you made. He was deeply proud to have brought so much joy to so many. Everyone knows George's legacy as a creator. His art, characters, and stories will be revered for years to come. But as towering as that legacy is, it pales in comparison to the legacy of the man George was. George's true legacy is his kindness. It's the love that he had for bring others joy, and I hope you all carry that with you always. Today is Free Comic Book Day, a day George absolutely loved, and a fitting day to remember his contributions to comics and to our lives. I hope you'll enjoy that day today with him in mind. He would have loved that. Please keep his wife Carol in your thoughts. His wife is Carol, not Constance, I'm sorry. Please keep his wife Carol in your thoughts. And again, I thank you for respecting her privacy, and available through the contact page. Please keep his George's memorial service will take place at MegaCon in Orlando at 6 p.m. on Sunday, May the 22nd. It will be open to all. Details to follow. We will miss him always. So I imagine that as in the days to come, we'll probably hear more of places to donate, whether it be for his wife, whether it be for the Comic Legal Defense Fund or any number of charities, whether it's National Cancer Foundation. But just keep posted to George's, whether it's his Instagram or his Twitter feed, George Perez on Instagram, and I'm sure you'll find that information.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, very well said. Very, yeah, good, kind words. I'm going to show you guys. So, yeah, Neil Adams, and we've got the Heroes Against Hunger, where about every artist or every page was done by a different artist or writer. So this was really cool. Look at Tacoma doing a peace sign. Oh yeah, okay.
Saying hi to Kirk.
Got it. It makes sense. This is This was given to me by Tacoma, but it was a very kind gift. He's all right, Tacoma.
Times.
George Perez is good, better, but no, I'm kidding. But here are just a few of the early Wonder Womans that he graced us with, and again, I just feel like sometimes you can see things like little curlets in her hair, and you're just like, he had a good time filling that in. He just had a good time drawing her. He loved it. Here we go. Here's Ares.
Hmm.
God of War. He was a real jerk. And I love this. I love this one. Look at that. Again, like we talk about, Dan, that he appreciates proportion and spacing so well, and he respects that. He keeps things clean, keeps things in their places.
Oh, lady, do you remember the other week when I was showing those Wonder Woman and they were kind of blank for the dates, and we thought they might have been Whitman. As it turns out, they're second prints.
Cool. That's cool, man. That's crazy. I'd never seen that before. Okay, I'm gonna show something, and then we'll let Tacoma say. Hell, I guess we'll let him talk first. Hey, what's up, Tacoma?
Hey, thanks for having me. I didn't know the invitation was coming, but because Rob doesn't have IG, I finally got all those price stickers off the DC Universe comics, and I need to remember which ones I'd have to send him. So that's why I was trying to communicate. But I'm also happy to be here. I have comics to show off. I have George Perez and non-George Perez comics to show off. So let me know when it's my turn to go.
It's your
I'll
turn.
give you my phone number after the broadcast.
All right.
I don't know, Dan, if you've met my friend Ian.
I have not. No.
Yeah.
Hey, Dan.
Good to meet you, sir.
So I ain't got much, but I got a little package yesterday. I pretty much went to my hidey hole where he does the packs of comics. He's hired a guy, like he hired me 2 years ago, and the guy knows what he's doing, so it's really hard to get a diamond in the rough. So now I just buy the stuff that I want. So I'm trying to finish this run, and I bought like 20 of them, and I need like 17. So pretty darn cool. It's number 19.
Another underrated series.
Yeah.
Isn't 17 with the dominatrix on the cover?
I believe so. I think I already have that one. 24. This guy's a minor key. I think this is like the second
I need that
Scarlet
one.
Scarab.
Yeah, I need that one.
I don't think I have an extra of that one.
Oh well.
But
okay.
I will look.
I don't really need it.
You might have another Invaders pack. I mean, you got all these like classic looking Torch and Pap stuff.
That last one had a golden age flavor to it, sort of like the Submariner.
Yeah,
issue.
so like
Lady
that
Fantastic.
Torch, way more like Golden Age Torch than like
more like Schomburg Namor. Yeah.
Yes.
It's more like elfish.
Look at these spikes of doom. And the red-haired Bucky is just much different than the Bucky we know in the MCU. This silly costume he wears. And the
Don't
glasses.
be sorry, Rob.
A lot of swastikas on these, which I never really like. Like, it just doesn't rub me the right way to have like swastikas, but they always covered them up partially.
Yeah, but if it makes you feel better, like they lost,
Hitler's their enemy.
Yeah.
I guess
never really win. So
yeah, that was my big haul recently. Otherwise, I just I picked up my new comic book day stuff. But I'll go grab some. Did anybody show Crisis on Infinite Earth yet?
So we've seen some of the covers from that.
Then I'm good to just hang out and talk comics. I don't need to show off anything that's been shown.
I'll show you guys a few covers that I got from Free Comic Book Day, but I only got like a couple. I got the Nottingham thing. I got the Inkle guidebook or whatever, but I already put it up in my indie thing. But I'm not sure if this is like Nottingham 1 reprint or if it's a new story.
It takes place between issues 5 and 6.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure Kurt would want that.
Okay. Uncanny Kyle says that those were great books. He doesn't have a problem. I found I was able to get the Marvel Voices, which has a new Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur story. It's awesome. Super cute. Get it. Meow meow. One of the coolest things about the Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur issues is it has a quotation from a scientist at the beginning of every issue, and I love it. Got the little Red Sonja reprint. That's cool. And yeah, man. There is one thing I did want to show off. It was like a little project that I had set up for myself. I kind of flexed it a little bit on IG. Yeah, because I think I'm cool. So there's these guys, it's Gator Guard Comics, and they make these guards, like protective, like CDC guards for books. But you can customize them. You can get the colors. Do you see these different colors? Oh, so I want to show you guys what I did. Here's
Coordinated.
House of Secrets issue 122 with the red screws. Look at that, dude. Red
Makes it
screws.
really pop.
Isn't it pop? Yeah, it's so awesome. I feel so cool. And then ones with the purple screws. Look at that.
It's bringing up horrors from last week.
Yeah. Does not make your eyes just like glaze over. I love it.
Now, for those that don't know, I lost to that book last week.
Look at this. Look at this issue. So this is like, it was issue 122, 123. Now this is issue 124.
Wow.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
That's not a dark cover at all. Wow.
And then issue 125. Sequential. So
That's a cool cover.
Yeah, I love this cover. Issue 122 through issue 125. I have my little covers. And so now what I want to do is I want to mount them on the wall behind me so I can have my little House of Secrets and flex. And you guys will be intimidated.
I thought you already would have done that by now.
Lady, could you show that giant cat picture again? The giant cat cover?
Yes.
Show that again.
Issue 125. And me, yeah. Oh.
You know what's scary about that one? If there was a cat that big outside our yard, my wife would still feed it.
Yeah, I probably would too. I probably would too.
Yeah.
I can't.
Is that Bernie Wrightson?
I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to check first. But Gator Guard, these guys are really cool. Check them out. They're from Nashville. So I ended up meeting them in Huntsville, and I hit him up on IG, and he sent me some in the mail. Got a little Nashvilleian discount, and it was so sweet, man. It was so sweet. Anyways, that's my little promo project thing, and that's as like Martha Stewartish as I get.
Hey, it's Martha Stewart for comics. We're good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good thing.
Lady, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be rebagging and boarding all this stuff in proper Mylar. So I have to thank you for that.
You need to have your stuff in good stuff.
If you can afford the comics, you can afford to protect it.
Yeah. You want to protect those George Perez's forever, ever.
Yeah.
Forever, ever. So I don't have anything else to say. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I want you to do it again since we all get to talking and it's just never long enough.
Oh, my pleasure. I mean, we were going to talk about Marvel Silver Age, but we had the passing of George Perez and Neil Adams, and that sort of took center stage. And of course, we wanted to pay our respects to those men. So we could do this again. There's lots to talk about. Once you get started on that conversation, it literally takes on a life of its own. So
we'll have to continue that and do it, and you'll have to join us again.
It might be my pleasure.
And Tacoma, you'll need to join us too. And I don't know why I'm so mean to Tacoma. I think I like it just because, like, I don't know, it makes me laugh. But I shouldn't be because he's not mean.
I always love being somebody's punching bag.
I do like being mean. But
you're just a classic bully.
For you, I am, I guess. But I always appreciate it when you come on, and so thank you, and you're welcome to come on and show your books too. I think maybe I'm mean to him because I'm kind of jealous of his books.
You got good books too.
Yeah, you do. I know,
Yeah.
I do. We all have good books. We got good books.
Yeah.
But that's not what the show is about. The show is about
Dan has the best books.
No, if I did, I would have won last night and last week. But no, we love being on the Hunt show. It's a lot of fun, and it's the funny thing is I buy what I love. I just do, and I bring out what I think. Hey, this is pretty cool. I think it might win, and then Lady Fantastic or anybody else will bring out something else that I'd never seen or didn't expect, and the chat just goes for that. And before you know it, you're out the door.
it's a fickle thing, the audience, but it's so fun, and it's a way to see stuff you've never seen before.
Yes.
And get your eyes on different things. But I want to say rest in peace, George Perez, and thank you for everything that you gave us. We're going to continue to celebrate your creations for years and decades to come. And so this one's for you. And thank you, you two down here, for joining us. And thank you, everybody in the chat. Be safe. Be kind to yourselves. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And I don't know, wipe your booties front and back. See ya.